Hey, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the Spacious Sarah podcast. I am on a mission to bring back the lost art of meaningful conversations that touches our heart and expand our perspectives. My intention is to create a space where you feel seen, heard, and loved. Each episode is crafted to hold that space, allowing you to open up and explore thoughts and ideas in a safe environment. So, grab your imaginary marshmallows, find a cozy spot under the sky full of stars, and join me in these campfire-worthy conversations as I take you on a journey to places you've never been and spark conversations you've never had before. Let's go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Spacious Sarah podcast. Today, here with me, I have Priya, an interesting character, I would say. Hi, Priya. Welcome to today's episode of the Spacious Sarah podcast. I'm so glad that you are finally doing this with me.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited, a little nervous, but yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm glad that you're actually here with me today. So, Priya is actually my very, very, very close friend. And I actually wanted to host you because I feel like you have an amazing story to share about life, about the lessons, about the mistakes along the way, the journey, and how you have evolved as a person as well. And Priya's actually, we met when we were in college. So that was like pretty much 20 over years ago. We've been friends for a really long time. And I think the only reason why my college years were like one of the best years of my life was because of you. And it's not that because, we were like some acing students or what. We were like one of the crappiest students in class. We, we were always like, right? We were always like joking and, instead of going for classes, I think we kind of like skip classes. We did had good time during class as well, like, making fun of our lecturer, not paying attention, not paying attention. I enjoyed times like when you used to accompany me to smoke while I smoke. Like you are not a smoker and I'm a smoker. I used to smoke previously. And you would accompany me by the stairs and just stand there and just get all that smoke. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
you
I,
no.
I those were the times that I sit down and dread, and I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? But she's my best friend, and she needs she needs a company, and I'm like, okay, fine, let's do it. But then, I mean, the first few times I'm doing it, I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing this? I mean, I'm also encouraging her. And then as time passed and we were doing it more often, like, in the staircase and stuff, and I'm like, it's practically bonding. Yes, smoking is bad. She knows, I know, it's just part of the thing. You don't smoke anymore, thank God. But I actually enjoyed it at the end. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
bonding, talking shit, and yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. So yeah, and I remember when we had to part ways. And we both studied law. We both started with law, but then we ended up something else. Like for you, what was it like? Why did you want to study law? Like, was there like a Brown family pressure or the typical Brown family thing? Why did you want to study law?
At the beginning, yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of a pressure. I thought I would enjoy law. It was actually from my grandpa. My grandpa was practically encouraging me. He thinks that I'm a type of a person who talks a lot. I mean, most girls, when you're young, as a teenager, you talk so much. I mean, compared to boys, usually girls have more to say. And he thinks that because I love to talk and argue, I love arguing. That's the main reason. He told me, no, why don't you try? I mean, of course, he's passed on, and he passed away when I was 8 or 9. And then my parents said, okay, I mean, if that's what you want to try, let's try. At the back of my head, there was always this, I want to try something regarding science. It's always there, but I proceeded to do law. I mean, I did my A levels first, did all the compulsory things, and then went into law. But I regretted it. I regretted it till the core. It was so hard. Practically sitting down and reading, and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? I'm not enjoying it. Why am I doing this? And I did for 1.5 years, I think, approximately 1.5 years. And I think the last year, practically passing mark, and some of them were fail marks. And I think it was the last year or the second year of law where the decision was to go to Bristol, and a lot of money. And my parents were thinking, is this the right thing to do? Is that what you really want to do? And that's when I spoke up and say, no, not, I don't think it's right for me to go all the way to UK and actually do something that I'm not really enjoying. That's when we put a stop to that. And yeah, and now
Okay, I must highlight this. You said that because you love talking and you love arguing, so there was this sort of image put into your head as a child that, oh, you
mm,
should be a lawyer. Oh my
mm,
God, I so
mm,
think this is wrong. Whoever's listening, even if you have children, never say that to your kids, because like for you, it was like you knew that you love something with science. For me,
mm,
my very first ambition that I wanted to be when I was 5 was actually a singer, just because
mm,
I loved Michael Jackson. And I
mm,
really, so for me, the entertainer word was more to, I lean towards the word entertainer. And I think that same like you, I pursued the law path because I was told at the age of 5 that you will never thrive as a singer in Malaysia, right? That's those days. And I don't blame my parents for that. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right? But I think
yeah.
it's so important the things we tell
Our children.
children. Yes, it's so important. So yeah, I
Very
also
much.
wanted, yeah, so thanks for bringing that up. I think it was
Mm.
important. So what happened after that? So you left
So
law
what
school
happened now?
halfway?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we stopped halfway, 1.5 years we did, and then I mean I did 1.5 years, and we decided that you're not going to go to Bristol, and you're not going to continue. Let's think of something else, and that's when we started. Mom and dad and me, because at that time I've got an older brother, and he was in Adelaide. I think at that time, I'm going to talk about something that has happened 20 years ago or 25 years ago. Um, so we decided that we're going to travel because he's going to graduate. So he was doing his master's there. He's an engineer now, and he was doing his master's, graduating. So we thought we'll do a tour around Australia. So we thought we'll start in Adelaide, Melbourne, and then I think we did Sydney. So during that travel is when I met mom's very good friend in Sydney, and she started introducing nursing because she's a nurse. She's a retired nurse, and very unfortunately, she's passed away now. But she introduced nursing to me, and I mean, back home in Malaysia, nursing it's terrible. The job is you do a lot, but you don't earn enough. It's not so much of a reputable job. And I mean, obviously at that time, that's how I can think because that's where I was brought up and that's where I've learned and schooling and everything. And I was thinking, oh my God, nursing, like really, is that what I really want to do? And she encouraged me a lot though. She said, that's something that is really good in Australia. You've got so many different scopes that you can go. And yeah, I don't know how. I seriously don't know how. After the age of 21, the moment I completed the 21 birthday, and mom and dad was like, okay, I was working in a travel agent. I clearly remember working in a travel agent, deciding on what to do with life. And they said, okay, why don't you go to Australia? Because your brother's there. Why don't you go there? But I didn't go anywhere near my brother. He was in Adelaide and I was in Perth. Decided to come here to start from scratch because I was more of an arts background. Did a little bit of science in school and high school, but nothing enough to do nursing. So I had to start from certificate. So I did certificate, diploma, degree, and I've done, currently I've done postgrad and other things. But yeah, so came here and came here all by myself. Decided that I'm going to do nursing. Encouraged, of course, a lot of encouragement from mom and dad. I came all by myself and stayed over the first time staying over myself, coming to a different country. It was to be very, very honest with you, it was a little scared, but I was very excited. I'll tell you why. The way mom and dad brought me up, very disciplined, very strict. brother, my older brother gets to do everything. Certain things, because you're a girl, you can't do. My curfew at the age of, well, I'm going to say 2021. That was the last time I was in Malaysia, as in, like, before coming to Australia.
2021 or 20?
Sorry, when my age was 20, I think 20 or
Okay.
21.
Okay.
Came here first time. My curfew was 10 o'clock at night. 20 years old, 10 o'clock at night, and I have to be home. And that all, even to go out, it is so much of a struggle to go out, just to go for a birthday party, somewhere, even sometimes it will be near the house. They will drop me, they will pick me. It is to that extent. I have never gone out in Malaysia, in KL. I've never gone out clubbing. I've never, at the age of 20, I've never gone out to, just to have a cup of coffee with my friends. No, it was that
No, even
protective.
for us, I think this one I gotta say, even for us, like the only time we met was in school, 8 to 4, and that's it. And I
Mm,
remember there are times when we don't have class and you be at
mm,
home, and I
mm.
would quietly sneak into your home after your parents have left. You know, like
Yes,
as if we were having some sort of intimate
an affair.
relationship. Exactly. And you used to cook for me, and I used to come
Yes,
in, and it was
yes.
just so much of fun. But I totally understand when you said, I can imagine how your
Yeah,
life was
yeah.
before going out. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Dad was very traditional,
Yeah.
but it is very easy to have a conversation with Dad because he listens. But he's very strict and very traditional, to the extent, he doesn't mind, like, I mean, even if you have hairy legs, it's fine, it's okay, it's traditional. I mean, it's normal, you can have hairy legs, but as a woman, you can't walk around with hairy legs, those simple examples like that. When it comes to mom, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. Mom is the type of person, because from the time I think she got married until now, she is the type of person who have made decisions for all of us. Dad goes to her and dad will suggest, but the decision maker is mom. So because she's been like that with her kids as well. Very different with my brother though. He has a say, but with me, no. Um, so if it doesn't go her way, it's hard. It's very hard. So coming back to how I came to Australia. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it was, And she said, okay, she's to a type of a person she was. She actually said, okay, you go to Perth and see how we go. So we went. I came by myself and I started studying, and I enjoyed it. The person how I was in KL in Malaysia, I never thought I can be a high distinction kind of a student. And I was getting high distinction in pretty much most of my subjects in school. And I was like, wow. Of course, the standard is a little bit different in Australia and in Malaysia, because
Is it higher or is it
no,
easier?
in Malaysia it's a little higher, because I think we follow Malaysia follows UK standard.
Yeah.
Like A levels and all that. In Australia, it's just Australian standard.
Mm.
So, but whatever it is, getting high distinction and distinction in school, what really motivated me to nursing. And slowly, never knew that deep down in me, I have the passion. I have that passion of actually helping others. I feel good about it. And yeah, it went on from certificate to diploma to degree, and here I am today, you know. But even then, the 3 years of having degree, the way mom controlled. I had a phone with me. Practically, the moment I reach university, I have to call her. I come back in the evening, I call her. At night, before I go to sleep, I have to call her. I call her nearly 3 to 4 times, maybe even 5 times a day,
But
because she needs
the
to keep track
same,
on where I am.
but she doesn't do that to your brother. It's just you.
No, not at all. She
Okay.
doesn't do that to my brother at all. Only to me. Why? Because I'm a girl. I might do that. There was no trust at all. There was never
Mm.
trust in KL itself. In Malaysia itself, there was no trust. So because of that, I rebel. Even in Malaysia
Yeah.
itself, like you said, you had to hide and come into my house. Why? Because to be honest with you, Sarah's coming. What else Sarah's going to do? You're going to sit down and chit chat. And at that time, obviously, she
And
knew that,
mom doesn't like me at all for no reason.
to be honest, yeah.
No, I think
No
the only
reason,
reason,
no,
the
because you
reason
smoke.
why, no, she didn't know I was smoking. It was because I think there was one day I braided my hair and she
Oh,
didn't
okay.
like that. I clearly remember that.
Ah,
And she
yeah,
didn't like that.
yeah.
But she didn't know that it was her daughter that the one who braided my hair. You braided my hair actually. And I
Okay.
think because of that, she thought I'm some hippie girl or what. She
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
doesn't like me for
So
no
because of
reason.
that, Sarah's like hippie, happy-go-lucky. She does that, she does this, and she starts presuming she drinks, she smokes. Oh, it's not good for Priya. So uh, yeah. I mean, she welcomes you when you're there with obviously back of her head like she hopes that you go off.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to hide and do things like that. So because she was like that, now that I'm not anywhere near her, she was much more trying to control through
Mm,
phone. Through phone she was trying. So for me, the moment I reached Perth, it was freedom for me.
yeah.
It was freedom to the extent I practically went and did things that I couldn't do in Malaysia, like practically going out with friends, being the teenager that I was meant to be in Malaysia. I didn't get that, and I was doing it at the age of 21, 22, 23. So I went out of control for a bit. I did go out of control, clubbing every weekend, drinking. But I was still focused on studies though, because
Yeah.
I knew that if I don't get that through, I have to resit again, and because I've gone through that in law, I knew. So I don't want to do that again. So that was that. And she was controlling everything, controlling to the extent of money. So she obviously paid for my fees and everything, but I was also working. So she controls. She needs to know exactly how much I'm paying for what and what I'm using it for. It was pretty much in control for 3 years. So going back to
Despite
nursing,
you, sorry, despite you um giving the distinction, she
oh
still did
yeah,
not trust you.
yeah, nah.
Okay.
Even though I was doing well in school, I was working. She knew that I was working every weekend to do with my nursing. I was a carer first, so working in a nursing home, in an aged care facility. And I was doing that. I was getting money for paying my rent and everything. And she knew that I was independent. I was way more independent than my brother. My brother, when he first came down, he couldn't even cook. Every week he calls and he cries to say that, I hope you're here, because he never did that in back home. Everything was done for him. I was independent even in Malaysia itself, because mom and dad travels a lot for work, and I was alone most of the time, and that's how my friends come home. You get what I mean? So I was independent. I could cook. I have no issues in living by myself. I would not feel lost. But even then, there was no trust. There was no trust because of the strictness. She always have this thing in the back of her head that she's going to go out of control. She's going to go out of control. So
Why
keep an eye.
so? Why do you think so?
I have no clue. I have not shown her anything at the beginning when I was in KL, when I was in Malaysia, that I because everything, it was all strict. She was so strict that I couldn't do anything. To the extent, the law school that I was with you, that was no, before that, before the
You
reason
and a
why
different.
yes, the reason why I was in the law school, the school that we went together, is because it's very, very near to her office. So you remember, I don't know whether you remember or not. I will usually tell you when we go downstairs, oh my God, maybe mom and dad,
Yeah.
mom might come down for lunch as well.
Yeah.
The reason why she moved is because the other place where the school is, she could see that the girls are a bit more rebellious, and she was
Ah.
so worried. Oh yeah, yeah. It was there
Because
were
I
a few
must say, the one that we went to, it's a little bit of a higher end. It
higher.
has its own name
Yeah,
and its own brand. So, sort of, I won't say like the super rich kids, but at
yeah.
least above would go there. Yeah.
And so that was the other reason why that was the main reason why she moved nearer to a school, nearer to her office, and so she can monitor. But it was very hard for her to monitor because she travels a lot for work. So then, because of a lot of I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that, I just went haywire. Even before leaving Malaysia to come to Australia, I practically, I think after you left, I practically didn't go to school. I didn't go to class. I just hang out with people. That's when I started drinking. I think drinking started when I was in the second school. Um, you know, having friends, because mom and dad usually travels a lot, so I have friends from school coming over from the old school and the new school coming over to my house, and they bring drinks, bring alcohol. So she caught me. There was once she caught me. And that's how it all started. I'm going to say that's why.
Right.
She caught me where I think after they left, unfortunately, one of the guys, what they did is they went and put the wine bottle into the rubbish bin.
Fresh.
And she saw, and she also saw some of dad's alcohol was reducing. And so from then on, and then that was one instant where she didn't trust me. And then there was another instant, at that age, if a guy comes and talk to you, you get excited and you want to have a chat and all. So I had a I'm going to say fling. Now I'm going to say it's a fling with a very older guy that I'm going to say I met online. It was to that extent, I couldn't have friends. Like I was alone. I didn't have the support from mom and dad. And so here now I want to make friends. So I went online, made friends, and I met this
This
guy.
is the time when internet probably just started out. I think it's the
And we had this
early
online
2000s.
chatting,
Yeah, the
online
ICQ and
ICT,
IRC.
exactly. That's the one. Some chat thing where you
Yeah,
can chat.
yeah.
So I met this particular person, and then we started having chats, messages after messages, sometimes 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So what she used to do, she'll keep an eye on me. So I have a phone. Whenever she comes, a double-story house, whenever she comes upstairs, she'll open the door and make sure that I'm not on the phone. So and obviously me being me at that point of time, I want to talk to whoever I want to talk to. You just want to do what you want to do,
We are
and
in
so
the rebellious age.
rebellious. And so I will have the phone. Here and there she has caught me here and there where I've been talking to guys, and she obviously will not like that, and she takes my phone away. So it was a point where I went quite close to this particular person that I was talking to, where I practically pleaded to her and said, I want to talk to this guy, I really like him. And can't remember the exact word though. She said, she indirectly, what she was trying to say is, I'm crazy, I'm being silly, and there are better things in life than talking to a man. And yeah, there was no nice words from her. I'm not expecting her to encourage me to talk to this man, but as a mother, you think, she could try and redirect me, try and reassure me that, can talk, but you have time to talk, nothing of that sort. She practically put me low to the lowest and took my phone away. So at that point of time, at that age, what else? You rebel, you fight, you want to practically fight and argue, and yeah, it just went messy. So it was just those small things that has happened, that now after all that has happened, she actually was happy for me to go out of the country, which I was pretty shocked, but she did. But then of course everything still monitor from Malaysia.
Yeah.
But I still did. I still go. I still had fun. Whenever she calls, I just don't answer her calls, And it just till today, sometimes I ignore her calls, because the reason why I ignore her calls is because I just don't need to answer. I just don't need to answer and be her way, because I'm an adult now. Sh- and yeah, that I think that is the main reason why I rebel, because she wants to be, you feel like she wants to protect me, but at the end of the day, it's not protection. It's more of, you do what I ask you to do, you know
Yeah. Yeah.
so it has become, it became really bad. It became really bad to an extent. I don't know where to start though.
It's
I don't know
okay.
where to start,
No,
but
but okay. Okay. So now you are in Australia and you are studying and all that. Um, there was a turning point in your life when you moved from Australia to US. What happened?
Yeah, so I was, again, I'm a type of a woman. I'm sure you may know too, that knowing me for this long, I don't follow my culture. There's no such thing as I believe in the culture. I believe in God, what I am comfortable. So from the time I left Malaysia till today, I have never got I've never got an interest into the Indian culture, into the Indian community. Never. I've tried many times. Not that I'm feeling like I've tried many times, but I never felt good about it, you know. So throughout my life, the people that I've met were not Indian. So she was very unhappy about that. Going back to mom again, she was very unhappy about that. At the age of 26, 27, I think about 28, is when she knew I was together with this particular guy that I was for nearly 3 years, on and off though, but nearly 3 years. And he is an Australian, I mean, born Australian, and he's not an Indian. So that's a big no-no. So I'll tell you what she did. She went into a dating website. I think it's an Indian dating website where she put my name down, my picture down without asking my permission. I was 28 then, you know? Yeah, 28. Without asking any of my permission, she put my name and my face, my pictures there, but she was talking on my behalf to
Basically,
all
a
the
false representation in the law term. Yeah.
and she started connecting me with all these other guys. And so again, going back to what I spoke about before until now, what I've been doing, because to ignore her, what I used to do, I please her. Just either lie or please her. So when she gives me all this profile, so I of course I felt offended that she did it, but I've never confronted her. I
You
never,
never
because if
voiced
I
out.
confront her, I never voiced out. Because if I would have voiced out, she would have, like, you know, um she would have told me off. She would have go back to my past. Oh, you have no culture. You know, she'll start all that nonsense. So to ignore all that bullshit, just please her, fine. Whoever you want to send, I'll talk. So I've been talking to all these guys that she's been talking to first, and we connect and we talk. And fortunately, and I'll tell you why fortunately, and very, very, very unfortunately, I met my first husband, ex-husband. And of course, she spoke first and she connected him to me. He was in the US.
So she
And
did the filtration for you
she did
in a
everything. She did
way.
everything.
Okay.
She spoke about, oh, he's in the health field, you're in the health field, so I'm sure there'll be some sort of connection. You talk, Priya, so fine.
Sounds like matchmaking, Auntie Seema's
Can
matchmaking.
you imagine? So can you imagine? So we did that. So I spoke. At that point of time, I was nearly going to turn 30. I think I met him face to face at the age of 29. And here I am, you know, I really need to settle down. I really always wanted to have a kid. I want to settle down. And I don't know, it's fate, I guess. It's just fate that I met this person and I fell in love. For some reason, when I met him face to face the first time, I didn't like his physicality. There was no attraction. The first time he came down to visit me from US to that time I was in Canberra, working there in one of the hospitals. When I first met him face to face, there was no attraction at all. Second day, when I met him, when he came down for 2 weeks, I practically honestly told him, I don't think this is going to work out. Yes, we had good connection on the phone, blah, 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 whatever, whatever. But at the end of the day, when you meet someone face to face, that's when you know everything, right?
The
And he was
chemistry
upfront
and all
about
is
it.
not there.
That was not there. But again, I don't know. Till today, I sit down and think what and why. That that 2 weeks, the end of 2 weeks before he left, I fell in love. And I didn't want him to leave. I wish I can know why and how. Is it my stupidity? Is it my naiveness? I don't know. So it happened. So then from then on, every 3 months he came down to visit me. His intention is, of course, he wants me to come back to US. And then mom found out that I'm kind of close to this guy, and she was happy. So now she went and did her investigation about this particular person, because it's not only about he's in the US and he's got a good job and he's got good money. It's also about his background, right? Very important in the Indian community. So when she did her background, found out that she found out that he's not from a good background, not from a good family back home, etc., etc. So she wasn't that keen. But yeah, so then also found out that when I don't know how she found out, but she found out that he actually had a previous marriage. She found out first, I think. I can't remember now. I think she found out first. And she now comes back to me now that I'm so attached, so close, so in love. She turns around and she tells me that, no, I don't think it's the right guy. Come out of it. And it's so easy for her, when she says that, I have to do it. She doesn't see the feeling. She doesn't understand. This woman, my daughter, has now fell in love, has gone into that circle of, I'm in love with this guy. To come out of that circle is going to be so hard. By you just saying, no, that's it, done, come out of it. No, he's not the right person. I mean, she fell in love and she got married. I'm sure she understands what's love, but not with me though. So again, back to square one. The things that I used to do before, hide. I tell her that I don't speak to him anymore, but I still speak to him because I'm in love. Very unfortunate. I found out that he actually was married before and has a kid. Not before I got married, but actually, yeah, after I got married. Remember? I think yeah, after I got married. So so what happened is 3 times he came down. The last time that he came down, again, every time when he comes down is every 2 weeks. Came down, he said that, he thinks that because of a type of a person I am, this is what he says, can never believe what he says, but this is what he says. He thinks that because he's in the US, I'm here, I go out with a lot of people, I'm having fun. He thinks that I may not come back to him because I have lots of potentials. So he said, why don't we at least get engaged? And I was like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. Because again, I don't see the seriousness of it. I don't see that, okay, fine, get engaged. So what, get engaged is not, it's not a legal thing. But the engagement went to the extent of he practically wanted to do the Indian tradition, where he took me to the temple, and that's when my heart was beating. I was thinking, is this right? Okay, maybe this is just the way of showing love. But to enter that temple was so hard for me. But I did it. I went and did it because of love. So we went to the temple, we got married in the temple, the Indian way, the Indian cultural way. And the only thing that we
Only the
didn't
both
do,
of you.
only the both of us.
So no one knew nothing. Your
No
parents.
one knew. So
Okay.
I took it from taking it as a joke, something fun, something romantic. And then when I entered the temple, I felt like, shit, is this what I wanted to do? And the back of my head told me no, but I still did it.
So why did you did it? Even though your gut feeling told you not to?
Why did I do it? Again, back to the type of a person I am. I love, I'm a type of person, I like to, how do I say, like get into, what do you call that? Challenging, like if something is challenging, or something that's exciting, or something that's, even it's however scary, I want to go try it. I'm that kind of a person,
But this is
So
not something like you go bungee jumping or skydiving.
it's not. It
It's
is
not,
not.
right? Did
It,
you ever thought about your parents or your family when you did that?
I didn't, because I didn't see the seriousness of it. I felt like, whatever, just putting a ring, whatever. It's not a big deal. It's not a
Right.
legal thing. It doesn't mean that I'm married to him. It's just I saw it as a romantic thing, like a romantic thing, sweet. Oh, so nice. At that time you have all this, somebody is coming all the way from US every freaking 3 months to see you. You feel so important. You feel so loved,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
with all that stupidity in the back of the head, I went and did it. The moment I did it, and I saw this chain in me, and I was thinking, not this chain, okay? I saw the chain that he put on me, and I was like, wow, I felt different. I felt different. I don't know why, but I felt different. I felt like I was closer to him. I felt like I'm important for him now. He will not let me go. He will not cheat on me. I'm important. I'm precious for him. I felt that. Then I was thinking, shit, I need to let mom know. I need to let mom and dad know. But we didn't yet on that night. The next morning, after we did all that, we were sitting in the in the beach. That's when he poured out everything. He's married before, not divorced yet, and he's got a kid back in the US. And he poured and cried and told me, and I melted. I was like, I was sad. I was feeling, wow, you cheated on me. Why didn't you tell me this before? But being me again, I am so easily, I forgive people. So easily forgive people. And so
Because you
because
grew up doing that to your mom to please her.
exactly. And that's the problem. Because I love pleasing people. That's one bad habit that I have because of how I was brought up. And I forgive him. Just there and then, I forgive him. But it's okay. That's what you if this is important and you think that this is what you want, then yeah, that's okay. But you should have told me earlier. That's it. That's all. No fighting, shouting, no upsetness, nothing. I didn't tell him anything. Didn't make a big issue out of it. So that was that. And then yeah, after that he went back home and he got his divorce and he came back. The next time he came, fortunately for me now, unfortunately then, I fell pregnant. That's when I told mom.
So this was
Unfortunately,
about
I
three
got
months
pregnant
later.
after 3 months later when he came was on my birthday,
Okay.
30th birthday. I fell pregnant. After he left, that's when I fell pregnant. And I didn't tell mom yet. I went and told him. And of course, he was like, fully supportive, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to sort everything out here and I'll come there and all that. When he came, so I would have been about 22, 23 weeks. I think about 23 to 24 weeks pregnant. So quite big.
In
And
months, how many months is that? Because I'm bad with weeks.
I'm more good with weight. So months would be, I'm going to say
I think
at
it was
least,
6 months because 24 divided by
yeah,
4. Yeah, about 6 months.
at least, yeah. So then that's when I said, no, I can't keep this because I Skype call her. I call her on a video call
So
pretty
for
much
six
every week.
months, she doesn't know.
No, because this is
It's
what
just
I
the
do. I
face.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't that bad because I'm quite tall and I wasn't showing it on first pregnancy. I wasn't showing so much, but I was getting
Yeah.
big though. But she didn't say much, we just yeah. And so then I told when he came down, I told him that, I really need to tell mom, this is crazy. That's where it all started. It all started. She practically told me, because obviously I guess you also don't know how many weeks I was, go and abort the baby. You're the most disgusting woman in the world. I don't want to see you anymore.
Are
That's
you
what she said.
serious? To her own daughter?
My own daughter. Because I was pregnant and I'm not married. And of course, I did not get any of her permission. I said, I can't abort this baby. This is my baby. This is my body. This is my
Yeah,
stomach.
yeah.
And I made this decision. She practically called me a prostitute. She said, I'm a
Wow.
prostitute. That just practically told me go to hell. And that's it. That was the last time I spoke to her for that period. And I had no one. He had to leave and he came back later again. So he came back when I was 23 weeks, he came down and then he said, okay, so if this is what it is, no support from your parents, I will go home, go back to US, I will settle everything and I will come to Australia and work and I'll see how I go. But keeping in mind, he always kept telling me, keeping in mind, you have to understand that I still have my first son there. At some point, I have to go home. But never ever told me that I need to go home, every 2 years, every 1 year, every 5 years, nothing of that sort. But he had a couple of interviews and he actually came down to Sydney and he worked in Sydney for at least 3 to 4 months when he came down before we left the US. He came down, everything was fine. I was getting bigger, I was working, and emotionally it was bad. Emotionally, I was just all over the place. Yes, I got the support from him, but the mom and dad that I used to talk to every day, now I don't talk to them anymore. I felt terrible, terrible, but I was focusing on me. I was trying to I'm not going to say I was focusing on me. I was trying to focus on me, but so hard, so hard. But the distraction was he was there. And I had work. I was still working full time. So that was all the distraction. Then after 3 months, he was working and he turned around and he told me that you know what, I can't deal with this work anymore. I'm not getting much money here. Or you can't compare, you have to compare Australian money and US money. US is much better. I want to go back. I want to go back. I want to go back. So what else can I do? I have no other support. He is practically my husband. That's when we decided, well, I did not decide. He decided that let's go to US. Let's see what happens. Let's go
And you
US.
guys were not legally married at this point of
At
time.
that point of time when we made the decision, we were not legally married. Okay.
Mm.
We were not legally married.
Didn't you see all the red flags coming?
I did. I'm not going to say no.
Were you
I saw
conscious about it? Or you knew it is a red flag, but your head is telling you this is a red flag, you need to be aware. But your heart is like, no, you're in love and now you're pregnant, you need a man.
the red flags were there, but for me, I say it's fine. I'll go through it. I'll go through it. It'll be fine. I'm pregnant now. I have to think of this. There are times where we used to argue as a couple, and the back of my head, I said, I don't give a shit. Even if he leaves, I can take care of myself. I've got a job. I'll take care of the baby. I'm fine. It was to that extent. I never felt, because of all the commotion and all that, that love was reducing. And I had this thing in the back of my head, I don't need his support. I'm fine. But because of, again, back to, I need you, I need a wife, you need to come there, I need you to be with me, and all that story back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they somehow convinced me that I should come to US. I was heavily pregnant. And I made the decision with him. Not happy though, but I didn't have a choice because now he's the father. He is my partner at that time. And we made the decision that we will go to US. I think I was almost,
How were you able to fly?
yes, I'll come there. So now to go there, first thing first, he got his divorce. So we need to register. Why? Because if I am not married, it will be difficult with immigration. So we decided we will go and do a registration. As a woman, as a child, as a lady, as a girl, let's start from a girl. You have this beautiful imagination that you're going to get married in a beautiful dress, looking all nice, every woman would have that, if you want to get married. I'm going to say 28, 29 weeks. Yeah, about 6, 7, not 6, 7, 8 months pregnant. So the stomach was quite big. And I was wearing a gown. And yeah, we got registered.
Again, only two of you.
No, I had, obviously, that time I was in Canberra and I had my friends.
Okay.
And the person who was marrying us. That happened because we had to get registered because of paperwork, and we had to fly, not because we wanted to get married. We were excited about it. It's because of paperwork. Sad though, thinking about it, very sad that that's how we had to get married. And so then before traveling, now I had to go and see my doctor because I was heavily pregnant. So I had to because I was really fit before pregnant. I was practically, I don't know, I was about 60 kilos before having my son. Because of that, I guess, because I was fit, going to gym and all that, I had no complications at all. I had no complication in my pregnancy, practically eating like a pig. That's how it was. I had no vomiting, nothing at all. And so because of that, there was no complication. Doctor allowed. And also he told me to go and get a paperwork from the doctor, a document from the doctor to say that I'm safe to travel. And I got that too. So now because I was pregnant and I am married to him, there was a little bit issue in the immigration where they told me, oh, you're heavily pregnant. So it's so obvious that you're coming here to have a baby, So they stopped us and they asked and all that. So because we were married, they let us go. And they gave me, I had to be on a visitor's visa, and he was at that time a green card holder. And so instead of a 6 months visa, they gave me a 10-month visa or something because of the pregnancy. We had our honeymoon, heavily pregnant, halfway through Hawaii. And all these made me feel good, but coming to think of it, the reason is because it's easier to go from Australia to Hawaii and stop there first, and the immigration there will be so much more easier to come into US rather than going straight to JFK to New York.
Because
That's
you
the reason.
don't need like because it's considered a domestic flight, right?
Yeah.
So there's no
Yeah.
immigration. Yeah.
And the immigration is a bit more easier there.
Yeah.
And here I'm thinking, wow, I'm having a honeymoon in Hawaii, but it's all bullshit.
So there was a hidden agenda.
Every single thing with my ex-husband, there's always a hidden agenda. Never knew then. I know. Now I know. Yeah. You know, now I've stepped into US, heavily pregnant. I went into the house that he used to stay with his ex-wife. He had someone who is renting out a particular room in that house. He left me there with my bag. It was morning time. He left me there with my bag and he said, I have to go to the office for a while.
The same day that you arrived.
Same day that I arrived with a stranger in the house. I will never forget that. And I said, but we just arrived. I have to just go to the office for a while. The office is like walking distance from the house. Whatever it is, that can wait. So he went and left me there in the house all by myself. And I'm
A
thinking,
male or female in the house?
male.
Oh my
Young,
God.
young gentleman that was in the house. He was a gentleman. He was nice or whatever. But
I mean, but it's
first
still a stranger. And you are new to the
time,
country, you're new to the state or whatever.
don't know anything there.
Complete, yeah.
It was practically
Gosh.
4 hours drive from New York, which is in Pennsylvania, which is a small country town called Williamsport. So, yeah, not many people. You go out, you don't see anybody. It's a big house from one place to another. So that was the first day. And so now, from the time I have decided that I've told my parents this is what it is, this is what I want to do. Before I left Australia, I did message them and I told them that I'm leaving. Nothing. They said, the moment you leave Australia, we don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. That was the only message I got from them. And this is again from my mother, nothing from my father. My
I
father
was
was,
about to ask you that. Yeah.
my father, very unfortunately, that he just has to follow whatever my mother says. That's just how it is. So then, yeah, that was the last time I heard from her. And then nobody. I didn't speak to any friends. I mean, yeah, one or two friends in Canberra. But because of my pregnancy, what I was going through, I had no one except myself. No one except myself. The day that I practically felt alone. I felt lonely. So that particular guy that was living there, he left. Thank God. And it was just within less than a month is when I delivered. I had my baby. So again, alone in the house, heavily pregnant. Didn't even realize. I mean, people have this presumption that as a nurse, you just know everything. Not necessarily.
It's not true.
Yeah. And so my water broke. Didn't even realize that my water broke. And after I think half an hour or 45 minutes, that's when I realized, okay, something's not right. And then yeah, we went to the hospital and we went to the hospital. My unfortunately, that his heart rate became really low. That I wanted a normal delivery, and I couldn't get a normal delivery. Everything was so quick. It was about 3:30, 4:30 in the evening. This happened, and by 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning is when he was born. Everything happened very quickly. The epidural didn't work. His heart rate was going low, so they had to do an emergency C-section where they had to put me to sleep. And very unfortunate, I didn't get to see my son first, but he did. So because he got to see my son first, we made the decision of the name because we knew the gender at the last ultrasound, but we never made the decision of how the last name is going to be. Very unfortunately, because of all the traveling, that we totally forgot about the last name. And he made the decision, obviously, it has to be his last name. That's it. So first name, the one that we decided, last name is his name. I was very upset though, very upset, but because he didn't consult me, he didn't ask me, I'm the mother. Just had this presumption, I'm the father, so the last name has to be my name, Yeah, moving on from there, it was just a lonely life. It was a very lonely life of me and my son. That's it.
How did that, I wanted to ask you, because like, how did that move impacted you, like emotionally, mentally, like, and how long were you in US?
I was in US only for 3 years.
Okay.
Went to Canada to do a bit of. I needed to get out. I needed to do something for my life. A person who is loves to go out, loves to study, love to do something for myself, love to work,
Yeah,
enjoy
because
nursing.
that was what I wanted to ask you as well, because like I've known you to be someone who's really independent. But now all of a sudden you became a housewife.
Mm.
You were stuck in a place where you said your nearest neighbor is probably really far. It's not
Ah,
within walking distance, right?
no,
So,
no,
um, I mean, nothing against being a stay-at-home mom. If
no.
there are wonderful women who are stay-at-home mom because that's what they love to do. But if you are someone who's independent, you love being on your own, standing on your 2 feet, but now you're confined to this situation. How did that crush your confidence? I'm sure, like,
Very much.
emotionally, mentally, like what were you going through at that point of time?
To be honest with you, now that I think of it, or in the recent time when I sit down and flash back or think about it, I was pretty much depressed. I remember
Yeah.
a particular scenario where, because I hated it there so much, because I'm a type of person, I like people around me. I'm so used to that, friends, family, or not even family. I have friends around, noise. I love to live in the city because I was born in the city. I hated countryside. I stayed with my brother. I remember I stayed with my brother for 3 months because waiting for paperwork and registration for my nursing registration. I stayed in a very country town in Queensland, in Australia. And I was so depressed. I couldn't wait to get out of there. Couldn't wait to get out of there because I'm that kind of a person. So now that staying in Pennsylvania, in Williamsport, where it was, I could only hear squirrels. That's how bad it was. It was in a jungle. That's how it felt. Looking back now, I was really depressed because I remember a scenario where this is what I used to do. I get my son ready. I think when he was about 4, 5 months, no, not 4, 5 months, maybe 6 months, is when I decided that, the feeling in the house doesn't feel nice for him. I always focused on him. I sent him to daycare at the age of 6 months. There's no reason for me to send him to daycare because I'm practically at home. I can take care of him. I'm not working. But I actually sent him to daycare because mentally, I was not right. I got up. I got up in the morning. I get him ready. I send him to daycare. I come back. I lie in that bed until 3 o'clock. I go pick him up. I don't cook. I don't eat. This was going on for a week. That's when I told myself I have to. There has to be a turning point. I So that was the scenario. Go pick him up at 3 o'clock. Come back. Cook dinner for him. Get him ready for bed. Put him to bed, and I'll go to bed. There are days where I don't even eat. I may just have a drink, and I just go to bed. And
Can
that
you
went
tell
on for
me
me.
Can you tell me what were the things that you were feeling and doing so that if someone who's listening, who is
Mm.
probably depressed but not aware of it, because now you're in a better state of mind. So when you look back, you know. But if someone who's listening, right, and they don't know, what were the things that you did that now you felt like, ah, shit, I was depressed.
Crying.
Crying, okay.
I practically neglected myself. I did not eat. There are days where I get up in the morning, I don't even shower. I just
Mm.
lied in the bed. Yeah, I just lied in the bed. Forget about food. I forgot about cleaning the house. I just focused on my son. That's all. Because the guilt, why does he has to suffer because of me? I need to take care of him. I need to be alive for him. That's how it
So
was to that extent.
when he was around, you were moving and doing stuff, but only
When
because
he
it's
was
for him.
around, it's when I had a smile in my face. Other than
Mm.
that,
When he's not around, you're just sleeping and crying for no
oh yeah,
reason. Not Have you
anger.
ever felt suicidal?
Oh yes, I'll come to that.
Okay.
I'll come to that. There were times because of that. That was the main reason why I did not want to see my son seeing me cry. I did not want to see my son seeing me screaming out anger, frustration. I sent him to daycare because I needed that space, so I can just take a breather, scream, or cry, or just do whatever that I can to release it. Take a breather, go and pick him up back, and then that's how it was. there was once where we had a terrible argument. So what actually happened? What made me leave US is very unfortunate. My son's dad, my ex-husband, wanted me to be part of his court case so that he gets more time with his son, more time with his son. So in
So
order to,
wait, sorry for interrupting. So he wants you, the current wife, to get involved with his court case with his ex-wife and his past marriage. That is so unfair.
yep, very, very unfair. Very, very unfair. So, long story short, he needed a woman to come and stay there so that it helps him with his bullshit that he has done before. So now he has gone through whatever nonsense that he has gone through with his first ex-wife. He now wants more time with his son. So now he wants to go to the court and say to the court, hey, I'm married. I've got a new wife. We even have a kid. We are family. So this first son should be in an environment where it's a family, because his mother, the first boy's mother, obviously is alone in the house. So there's no family kind of an environment in that house. But how stupid of him, because at the end of the day, that's the mother. You can go to any court and say whatever you want, that you are married now with another wife and you have another kid. The court will not say, oh, sorry, yeah, the boy needs to be in a family orientated place. He doesn't need to be with his mother. That's stupid. But that's what he wanted me to do. And I said, no, because I am a mother. And I know that if that happens with my son, no way. I would have been so painful. No. Till the last day I left US, I had never signed that paperwork. I never went to the court. So that was a big commotion one particular day where he was fighting back and forth, making me, manipulating my head to make me understand why we need these so that we can get out of these and all that bullshit. Where I went into the bathroom and I took a knife, went into the bathroom. The boy was there. My son was there. He was sleeping in another room. Went into the room and I told him, if you don't leave me now, I am going to cut myself. So, yeah, I did that. And I did not hurt myself, but it went to that extent. But the only thing that stopped me again was my son. Because I'll be very, very honest with you, Sarah. I have a strong feeling, because of all the issues that I've gone through today, I'm alive because of the boy. There's no other. I have to tell this because there are many situations where I wanted to end it. My parents practically call me a prostitute and think that there is no reason. They just wanted me to be out of the family. They think that I'm not their daughter anymore. They don't want to have anything to do with me. I have a man in my life who practically wanted to use me. And I practically took care of my son all by myself. At the age of 3 months, when my son was 3 months old, there was one day where I told my ex-husband, why don't you, you've never taken him and at least take him for a bath and stuff like that. And he said, oh no, how can I do that? He's so small. I don't know how to do that. He's so small. Then I turned around and think, but you had a first son. Didn't you do all this? Oh, no. They didn't allow me to do anything. They didn't allow me to touch him. But then now you because you didn't get an opportunity then, you're getting an opportunity now. And that is the reason why you wanted a second marriage, because you wanted a wife, you wanted a family, you wanted a kid, and it's all there. So why are you not doing it now? Oh no, he's too tiny. I don't know what to do with him. He's too tiny. I practically did everything for my son from the beginning till today. Physically, everything to take care of him. The only thing, maybe 1 or 2 times that his dad has done with him is lying on the floor. He may be playing in his playing mat. He may be playing with him. That's about it. Nothing else. Nothing else. He provided financially. I'm not going to say no. Of course, he provided financially, but emotionally, nothing else. Nothing else. So that was the turning point to leave US. The turning point to leave US, I sat down and I told myself. So what happened is, obviously, from US, I went to Canada for 10 months to do something. I wanted to study. I told him that I really needed to do something. So he allowed, because Pennsylvania was 4 hours to the border of Canada. So that was fine because every weekend he practically was like, there are some similarities between him and my mother.
I was about to say that. I was about to ask you, did you
Keeping
feel
an
like
eye.
that, yeah, in that relationship? Because I feel like we always have parents in our life, and until we address that trauma, it will still show up some way. Yeah.
And so yeah, I went there, and that was the best time of my life for that 3 years, which is that 10 months where I did a critical care nursing course, met new people, pretty much took care of my son. He went to daycare, I went to school, came back, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. That's not what I wanted. My dream came true because as a child, I always wanted to go and see Niagara Falls. I always wanted to go to Canada. That came true. But deep down inside, I'm sad. I'm upset. I'm not happy. That's not what happiness is. Happiness is I got married to this man who was supposed to support me, but all he was doing is pretty much going in and out of court and using the money to get hold of his first son so that he gets more priority for his first son, those kind of things. And then once I finished my studies in Canada, I decided that I wanted to continue there, but he didn't allow me. He told me to come back. Fight, argue. He told me to come back. So he was just worried that I'm going to leave. And if I leave, his his things are not going to get solved. So I cannot
Agenda.
leave. Main agenda is the court. So that was the turning point where I told the last fight where I was just talking about, the part where we had a fight about me signing the paperwork and practically nearly hurt myself with a knife, which did not happen, and he left. And just 1 week after that, when I made the decision, I'm going to leave this place. My reason to leave the place is my son. My reason to leave the place was, if I continue doing this, I will fall sick and I can't take care of him. And I was very worried what will happen to him because I didn't want the nurturing from the father because the father couldn't nurture at all. The father doesn't have the responsibility at all. I couldn't see anything, nearly 2 years I stayed there in Pennsylvania. So I decided I have to, I told myself I needed a break because I need to be in the right state of mind for my son. And I left without telling him. Without telling him anything, I packed everything of Roshan's, my son, and I left. Without him knowing. And that's when everything started again. He decided to put a court case. He practically said that I criminally abducted his son. And we went through a court case for nearly, 3 years, nearly 3 years, 3 to 4 years in Australia. So I decided to go back home. So yeah, in between, somehow I managed to have a long conversation with mom and dad, pursue, and talk and somehow ask for forgiveness and everything. And they were fine because there's a grandchild involved. So because there's a grandchild involved, they wanted to see the boy. They told me, yeah.
They've not seen the boy. Up to now, they've not seen the boy in that 3
So
years
they've not
or
seen the
2
boy
years.
until he turned 1. They came to Canada and stayed in Canada for 3 months,
Ah,
just for 3 months. And then unfortunately, my grandma passed away and she had to leave. So then after that, maybe after, I don't know, maybe less than a year is when I decided I'm coming back. And I called my dad. See, I would say till today, I am extremely grateful for what my dad has done. My dad decided that he's going to take a flight. He stayed 1 night in New York and he took both of us back because I decided that I'm going to come back, So because of that, he came down and he took both of us. So I'm very grateful for what he has done till today. So I went back to Malaysia, and that's when I decided I cannot be in Malaysia or Singapore because mom and dad was practically telling me, oh, why don't you go to Singapore? You can try nursing there too. And it was just not my cup of tea, It was just not, I didn't feel right. I wanted to go back to Australia so badly because I left it hanging. I just,
yeah.
I want to go back. I want to go back. I want to go back. And I went back. Unfortunately, going back to Australia, I had to go through this court case. If I wouldn't have gone back to Australia and I would have stayed in Malaysia, the law is different, then he wouldn't have done anything. my ex-husband. But because I went to Australia, because it's to do with the Hague Convention, it's a big law case, and we went through that for 3 years. Because I'm not a citizen of US. Roshan is a citizen of US, my son, and he then was a citizen. So the court has to decide whether my son had to go back because he's not, and whether he was criminally abducted. That went on for 3 years. But whatever it is, a 2-year-old boy, 2-year-old child, whichever part of the world he is, he needs to be with his mother, no matter what, unless the mother's
Exactly. Unless the mother is like mentally unstable, then
unstable.
it's fine. Yeah.
And he tried his level best, Sarah. He tried his level best till he went low to the extent he said that I used him to have a child. I used him to have a child. That's what he wrote in his
It seems
paperwork.
like the other way around. It seems like the other, like, do
I
you
used
feel
him.
like, yeah, do you feel like now when you look back, right? Like, oh, of course, certain things I'm hearing for the first time, right? But like now, when as you're saying and putting the puzzles together, do you feel like this whole entire thing was a plot? So
Oh
that,
yeah,
yeah,
100%.
like how
I
he
believe.
came and met you and then, convinced you to get engaged and then convinced you to get married. It seems like a plot so that he can just
Yeah,
for him to prove to
100%.
the court.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what he tried. He tried, he tried. We spent so much money, unnecessary money that we could have spent for the child, we spent on the court. And I had to, because he's my son. I will
Yeah.
never think of him going back and staying with his dad. The type of a person he is. No. Very unfortunately, no. And so he stayed with me. I won the case, and Roshan is with me now, you know. So yeah, that was the story is cut short in a lot of different ways because
Yeah.
I can really write a long, long storybook about what has happened, all the small things that has happened. But practically said the important points, at the end of the day, as a woman, as a mother, rather than sitting down and crying and saying, oh, my life is like this, that's what I did. I just got my ass up and told myself, Priya, you have to take care of this boy. You are he's practically your responsibility. And do you want to see him like all the other childs in the street? If you
Yeah.
don't, then you have to get your ass up and do something now. That's why I needed that break. I needed that break because I told myself I need to decide what I want. But the reason why I went back and I wanted a break, but very unfortunately, he put the court case on me. And then I decided I don't need to be with this man anymore. I
So
did
when
not
you
decide.
left, so when you left, it wasn't because you wanted to walk away from the marriage.
No,
You just
no.
needed a space for you, like probably a fresh air because the mind is too
I
cluttered
needed
in
a fresh
that
air.
home.
I didn't have
Yeah.
any friends, any family, nobody to go and reach out to say, am I doing the right thing? What should I do? I'm feeling shit. What do I do? I don't have anybody to go and pour out. I can't do that to my parents. They'll just turn around and say, you're an idiot. That's what you wanted to do. I told you not to do it and you did it. That's how my parents are. They will not sit down and say anything else.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, yes, they did help me out, asked me to come back, and then I went to Australia. But the reason why I went to Australia is because I did not put any court case. He did. He put a court case to say that I criminally abducted his son, and that's when I decided I don't need to be with this man anymore. What's the point? What is the point? Where we are practically going to live in a fake life if I go back to US. And that's when I decided, okay, you want to fight, then we'll have to fight. This
Did
is the
you
only
tell
way.
him that you wanted just the breathe and he did not listen?
Because there's no
Hmm.
trust. There's no more trust. He has lost his trust on me because I left without telling him.
Hmm.
How can I tell him and leave? That's a bit silly, isn't it? But yeah,
I
that's
remember when you left because of course during this time we were communicating and all.
yeah. Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and I remember that after you left, he texted me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I don't want to get into this, and then I just blocked him, and that's it because you made your decision after that. So for me, it's like, what am I like? I'm just a middle person, right? Who am I to interfere in this?
You're,
Obviously,
you're,
you are my
you're
friend,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Obviously, you are
Yeah,
my friend, and I would want to support and be there for you. I don't even know this man, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
But fortunately for me, that you were part of a hate convention.
Why am I a part of the hate convention? Oh
Oh
no, I
no,
think I remember
you had to-
something.
yeah, you had to write. I don't know. Did you write a report or something? You
Yeah,
did.
yeah. I
Yes,
think,
you
I
did.
think. Yeah,
You did write a
gosh, I
report.
can't remember that. Like, yeah, yeah. I feel like I feel like you're almost on your own in this journey. Like
I was.
e-
I was.
every time, like you're always starting over. Like after, like in between law school, you left, then you had to start over in Australia, and then you left Australia, you went to US, you had to start over,
Start
and then
over.
now you came back with the child, and then back
And
in
start
Australia,
over again.
and you had to start over.
I had
Um,
nothing doing. Yeah.
exactly. But I also know that you had support from your family, like your parents supported you probably
Yeah, yeah.
financially, yeah. But
But
I
not
feel,
emotional.
yeah, but I feel like it's always conditional. Like, for example, I've done X for you, so you should listen to me.
Yep.
And there's a lot of emotional blackmail, I feel.
Oh,
Yeah.
very much. Very
And
much.
how
The
do you,
emotional blackmail has started since child. Since
mm,
child, and I have made the decision that I'm not going to bring up this boy like that. But
when did you make that decision?
very unfortunate in me, because it's instilled in me, it has come out many times with Roshan. Whenever I talk to him, that and this, it comes out like that. Oh, Roshan, you're doing this. I'll start using the emotional blackmail. And I told myself, I hated that. So I have to stop, because if I do that, then he's also going to go through the same shithole that I went through. So I have to put a full stop to that. It was very hard as a person. I'm a type of person who everything has to be done very quick. And that's why I'm an emergency nurse. I work in an emergency department, and everything is quick, 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 quick. And I'm so used to that, nearly 15 years now. And I'm so used to that I instilled that in that 9-year-old boy who is slow, slumber. He's totally the opposite of me in that manner, though. Totally the opposite.
The
Everything is
chill
slow.
type. Yeah, the chill. Take a chill
And
pill, mom.
exactly. And everything is like, the moment I open my eyes, okay, Roshan, do that, do this, do that, do that, this. And I can see it is not working. And I'll still try. I'll still try. Why do something with a child and it's not trying, it's not working? Try some other way. And I keep telling myself, and I'm learning. Until today, he's 9 now. I'm still learning how to communicate with him. I'm still learning different ways, different strategies on how to work with my child. I don't want to instill how I was taught before with my parents, how they brought me up with him. Unfortunately, no, because they were all not good. Very unfortunately, lots of emotional blackmail. Lots. If you don't do this, then that's it. That kind of a very, very, so much negativity. So much negativity. You can come back home with a 96%, but there's no smile in the face. There's no smile in the face. Oh, you could do better. You could do better. And I told myself, I stopped that one. I would never do with my son. That's one thing I would never ever do. He comes back even with 70%. I say, oh, Roshan, come on, this is so good. But next time let's try 80%. That's what I say. And to today, that's what I do.
It's important that because that's how my sister brings up her daughter, my niece, right? She's Chinese educated, so she goes to Chinese school. So her grades are really bad for Chinese, but like English she scores, like Chinese she scores really bad. Like sometimes she gets 30 something or 40 something. She'd be upset, but my sister will be like, Jerica, you don't have to be better than anyone else. As long as even if you do 1 mark better, you're still better, right? And I think it's so important to
Mm.
actually encourage rather than like, hello, like you get 96 and it's not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many different perspectives that I would, even till today, I would really like to change in how I nurture my son, how I teach him different things, and how I practically communicate with the boy. Very
Mm.
unfortunate for Roshan that he had to go through everything that I went through, the court case, my parents. And so, to be very honest, the boy is affected, but he doesn't show. And so, because of that, the way I have to approach with him has to be very different. He's very negative. Very unfortunately, he's so negative in everything. And that frustrates me. And I tell myself, why is my son like that? Why is my son like that? Instead of that, now I realize, rather than saying why my son is like that, find out why he's like that and help him. Help
Yeah.
him, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, he's like that. So you pour your frustration to him, he'll feel more miserable. You know,
Yeah.
a good doctor that I used to work with previously, he helped me out a lot, and he says you need to have positivity in whatever you talk, then he will be positive. If
Yes.
you have things like, Roshan, why didn't you finish your homework? It's 6 o'clock and you still haven't finished your homework. Instead of that, try a different way. Roshan, it's 6 o'clock. How many more do you have to go? How many more? Let me come and help you. So then he will be excited. Okay, mommy's gonna help me. That's fine. You know, yeah. So with Roshan, I have realized until today I'm learning I have to have lots of positivity in me. Simple thing, just last week, Roshan is the type of person, book, iPad, I want to be by myself. That's it. You know, very unfortunate the boy has grown up and he's now like this. But I'm working with him, and slowly he's coming up. We decided that school holiday is coming up. Let's do this. No, mommy, I want to stay by myself. I want to do things by myself. I want to just be at home and do nothing. So the old me, what I used to do, what I would have done is go and show my frustration to me. Why are you like this? Why you cannot go out? Every other child goes out. You don't like to go out. You don't appreciate. I used to do that. Now I turn around
Mm.
and say, by me doing that, it's going to upset him more. And he is going to be exactly like me, like how I did to my parents.
Exactly.
And he used to do that. He's doing that here and there. Please, I'll please you, so I'll just do.
Yeah.
Not because I want to do. So now I turn the way, that's why communication is very important. The way I communicate with him is different. Now I turn around and tell him, Roshan, the reason why we are doing this is because we want to do things as a family. I'm with you and we will do it together. And I'm not going to force you to do anything, but let's just try. Because if you don't try, you never know what you're going to miss out, and etc. etc. And every day, little bit of that encouragement slowly will change his mind. It's a lot of effort though, a
Mm.
lot of patience, because I don't have that. My
Yeah.
patience is very bad. And I strike like that, and I tell myself, no, you have to learn to calm down. You cannot raise the voice with him. He practically calls me, there's a name for it. He has a second name for his mother. Panic attack. He calls me panic attack. Panic attack. Mom has panic attack moment. Because that's how I am. Sometimes I just go berserk and he'll be like, I don't know what to do.
I feel
So
like when you talk about these situations, I feel like it's not you that is
no,
doing it. It's your inner child that has not been healed from your
exactly.
parents' time. Because at that point of time, when you were a child and your parents, especially your mom, doing all this to you, that child couldn't come out because obviously it's a little child, right? But now as an adult, that child is coming out in this form, and you're just like, and it's true, like what you said, if you don't change it, it's a generational thing. You will just like, obviously something happened in your mom's life that makes her behave the way she behaves.
Of course.
I firmly believe that people are mirror, and whatever they are projecting on others, they're actually reflecting how they feel about themselves. And so she did it, like, don't know what she went through, but then she did it to you, and then you doing it to your son. And if you don't break that generational
Yes.
pattern, it's going to go on and on.
On and
And it's
on.
so spot
Exactly.
on, like what you say, like especially like me, I've been like, learning about mindsets, about self-development for over 20 years. And I come to realize that when we ask ourselves the why question, it puts us
Mm.
in our defense mode. The brain
Yeah.
automatically goes into a defense mode. Like, why didn't you do your homework? As like when your teachers used to ask us when we forgot our homework, and when they ask us why you never do your homework, the first instinct will come out is to lie, right?
Mm.
So it's so
Mm.
spot on when you said that. Now I ask him, like, how can I help him? So instead of asking
Mm.
why, you ask the other three W1H question, which is the what, how, who,
Exactly.
where. Yeah, like, where can I
Yeah,
help
I
you?
totally agree.
So then the creative side of your brain, or your
Mm.
prefrontal cortex, as they say,
Yeah.
would give you more suggestions, right?
Mm.
So spot on. I
Totally
think it's so
agree.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, very much important, especially for Asian parents.
I know. I
Very
was
much for
gonna
Asian
come
parents.
there.
Yes, because
Uh,
even here in Australia, all they do is force. You have to do this
yeah.
much of activities during this week. Roshan only does Swimming and tennis. That's it. Swimming. Oh,
Yeah.
no swimming. Swimming with mommy and tennis. There's tennis every Saturday. That's it. And then his grandma will come. You're not doing this, Roshan. You're not doing that, Roshan. You're not going back to chess, Roshan. That, these, that. That guy's having a headache listening to his mother, grandma. No. I mean, you do what you like. I try
Yeah.
and encourage him. He's done chess. He's done soccer. He's done karate. He's done basketball. He's done quite a few things. But nothing excites him except
Yeah.
tennis excites him. Swimming with mommy excites him. As he grows, there will be something that he will enjoy. It's not like he's sitting down and doing nothing, Encouragement has to be there, but you cannot force a child. The moment you
Yeah.
child, they will just do it to please you. And that's what I did. That's
Exactly.
exactly what I did. And I don't want the boy to do something just to please me. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, Priya, thanks for sharing all you shared. If there's one thing you can share with someone who's struggling, going through probably some sort of adversity or some sort of complication, whether as a parent, a single parent, or some sort of tensions that they're going in their life, what would you suggest? Like, what would you advise them?
Single parent is not easy. Anybody you ask who has gone through it, who have seen it, single parent, it's never easy. It's how you make it, how you go through it and improve it. Um, at the beginning, it might be very painful, but I'll talk about myself. The way I improved myself is looking at my son. That's it. He's a human being. I start seeing him as a human being first, who came out of me, and I'm responsible for him. So taking the responsibility and understanding that that is my child. I don't want him to be in the streets. I don't want him to be how I used to be before as a terrible person. So taking that responsibility. And the main important thing is positivity that I never had since childhood.
Hmm.
Implying that positivity in anywhere around anybody around you and your child make things a little bit more easier. Frustration comes, but you need to learn how to control yourself. You just need to, there is so many different ways. You have even helped me out in many different ways. Practically as simple as when you're frustrated, now what I used to do when I'm frustrated, before what I used to do is not hitting anybody, practically hitting the wall. I just hit there, take something and throw, and that's how I am. That's how I need to pour out. Now what I do, I sit down and 3 breaths, in and out. And I told that to Roshan as well, in and out 3 times. It helps. It may not help straight away,
No,
but if you
no, it
continuously do it,
does. It
it
does.
helps. It really helps, but you have to have a lot of patience.
Yeah.
The other thing that you, as a single parent, or if whatever you're going through, whether it's somebody else that is torturing your life, or someone is just being very difficult in your daily life, or anything that per se, I think it's more of you think of yourself first.
Hmm.
Is this really important? Is this person, do I really need to communicate with this person? And if, first thing first, is this person important in my life? If it's yes, no choice, because of his ex-husband, he needs that, he needs this, he needs that, and I cannot disregard him, then there is a way of talking. You don't need to give everything because you feel guilty. You don't need to give everything just because he's your ex-husband. You think of yourself. You are in this position today because it didn't work. So you think of yourself first. And selfishness is fine. Selfishness is perfectly fine for a good cause. That's what I think. You know,
Yeah.
selfishness is always a good fine for a good cause. So you think of yourself first. Think of the most important person in your life. If it's all fine, then go ahead. If that person is not necessary in your life and the person is torturing you, put a full stop to it. Put a full stop to it and move on. Like how very simple thing that I've done, which is not really simple because I've gone through it for a while, is putting a full stop to my own mother. I don't make her sit down and decide what I need to do. I'm 40 now. I've already told my age now. I I I don't make her make decision for me, because she's been doing that for the past, I'm going to say, at least for the past 38 years. She decides what I need to do. And now I've decided, no, I answer back with respect and I tell her, Ma, this is what I would want to do. And
I
that's it.
think you communicate. You communicate what you want, not to say answer, but you communicate what
Yeah.
you want. So spot on, Priya. I really love the fact that you said take care of yourself first. It's not selfish. And it is so true that we should be taking care of ourselves and putting our needs first, because obviously you can't fill from an empty jar. Even when you fly, the stewardess tells you to put on your mask first before helping someone else. So you gotta help yourself first. So really spot on. And yeah, so my one final question I want to ask you is, what brings you joy?
Your favorite question. I mean, I don't think this is not something that, whatever, but it's pretty obvious that I listen to every single podcast of yours, and I'm the VIP, if everyone needs to know. um, what brings me joy is happiness. What brings me joy is seeing the other person in front of me having that smile from one end to the other end is happiness. It's pretty much joy. As a nurse, as a mother, currently as a partner, um, joy, happiness, seeing that smile,
Yeah.
seeing the satisfaction, as a nurse, reviving someone and seeing that the person is alive back. It's practically joy till the tears, good tears, happy tears. Seeing the boy, my son, having that smile in his face because he's so satisfied and he's so pleased, and getting a cuddle with him, just getting a simple hug from him is joy for me. The other joy that I get is traveling, which obviously it's a long pause now since COVID. My last travel was Japan. And then from then till now, I have never traveled anywhere. And yeah, that's something in the book in the future. Because traveling, seeing new places, seeing new people, seeing new food, I love food, is joy, happiness for me.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. I know you have to go, but I'm just gonna make this quick. So two things I wanted to say. When you said that seeing someone in front makes me smile, like when they are happy makes me smile. Do you know what came up my mind immediately when you
Mm.
said that? It was you standing in front of the mirror and
Mm.
looking at yourself.
Oh, yes.
So I
Totally.
think
I
you
agree.
should do that, because I think you deserve that, of all these years that you've been living pleasing others, and finally like you are living
Yeah.
for yourself. I think you should be really proud of who you are,
Actually,
and
want to
what.
want to tell you one more thing that I follow, that what you have suggested and you
Oh,
told me that I should do, which worked, and it worked. It worked because it worked. That's why I want to let everyone else know as well. If
I'm
you wake up in the
curious.
morning and you know exactly, if you wake up in the morning and you know today work is going to be shit, work is going to be hard, you get up in the morning and say today is going to be a beautiful day. I've done that.
Oh,
Right?
you
Done
never told me. You never told me.
I have practically done that. At the beginning when you said that, I was like,
Oh,
are you kidding me? Like, really? It worked. It worked. There are times where I know that I'm going to struggle at work because it's going to be so freaking busy. And it was a pleasant day. And I came back and said,
oh.
wow, it worked. And I practiced that. To be very honest with you, I practiced that.
Thank you. It means a lot to me. And I must say that for those of you who are listening, when I first started the podcast, I had a lot of fear, a lot of fear. But then Priya was the only one who was listening to my podcast, and every week she'll come back to me and ask me, "Have you recorded? So what's the episode
Oh,
for
yeah.
this week?" I felt
Yes.
so pressured, and I feel like the only reason why I continue doing this is because of you. So I want to say thank you so much, because if it's not for you, I wouldn't have continued. And I actually really enjoy having conversations with people. And the reason why my hashtag is campfire worthy conversations, because these are the conversations that people will talk around, sitting around campfire and talking, because we talk about our lives and we share our
Exactly.
journey and our lessons. So thank you so much again for being here today. I'm so glad that you are here.
Thank you.
And thank you for
Thanks.
being vulnerable, open, and sharing your story with the hope that it will help someone else. Thank you so much. And I love you.
I love you too. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this soul enriching episode of Spatial Sarah. the podcast that brings back the beauty of meaningful conversations. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I invite you to carry the inspiration from these campfire worthy conversations into your daily life. Embrace the power of connection, open your mind to new ideas, and continue exploring the depths of our own thoughts. Share this episode with someone you know will benefit. Follow and tag me on Instagram at I am Sarah Sammy, hashtag campfireworthyconvo. Until next episode, keep dreaming, keep connecting, and keep embracing the magic of meaningful conversations. Signing off, your spatial buddy, Sarah.